Good day everyone and welcome to the first episode of my Football Manager save. This save is going to be with Newcastle, a team I think everyone on YouTube is currently looking at due to the £200 million they have in the bank and the 600k they have left in the wage budget. So far I've played through the pre-season off camera just to get that out of the way, and I've made all the transfers I feel are necessary for the season. I'll go through these now. Let me know what you think, see if you think I've made any mistakes, and see if you think you could sign anyone better. Quick thing to note is that Villa have already played Wolves. 2-2 draw, 1 point on the board. I don't think they'll be top for very long. So, on to the transfers. Everything above Santiago Munoz, so that is Savage, Ferguson, Mavididi, and Willock, and Munoz, were all here before I joined the club. So my first signing is, and forgive my pronunciation, Newcastle. Looks like an excellent centre-back. Super high acceleration and pace, which should allow me to play a nice high line or attacking style. Good dribbling, first touch, basically great stats for a ball playing defender, which is what I'll be playing him as. Didn't cost me particularly much. I think it cost around 7.5 mil, and he's got the perfect PPMs for a ball playing defender and brings the ball out of defence. He can also cover the left back position if required. If I compare him to the left centre-back who's already at the club, Kieran Clark, he's significantly better. Although the star rating only shows him as half a star better, you just have to look at his stats to know he's way better. So yeah, it's £5 million up front, rising to 11.5 million in total, but that's after several appearance-related bonuses. I'm going to skip Vibora for now, because I'm going to speak about youth signings later. My second signing was probably my biggest signing in my opinion. Jules Conde, a player that Chelsea in real life have been looking at. I signed him for his release clause of £68 million, and I just think he's a great signing. Brilliant heading, brilliant tackling, great pace, great stats all over, and overall he's just probably one of the best defenders in the game. You can see he's rated as a 4-star, which is huge, to be honest. I'd spend quite a lot to get him out of his release clause, but I think he's worth every penny. My next big signing was Declan Rice. I needed someone to be more defensive in my midfield. I'm not looking to play him at centre-back, though we can cover there if needs be. Good teamwork, work rate, tackling. Underrated passing and vision, both at 14. Good dribbling, good first touch. I think I'll be using him as a deep line playmaker, potentially on support, maybe on defend, not fully sure. I think it'll evolve as my tactics do. Good PPMs for this role, tries long range passes and likes to switch ball to the wide areas. Overall, I just think his stats are absolutely perfect. He will likely become my captain once I manage to eventually get rid of Jamal Lascelles. Leadership 16, determination 17. Absolutely perfect for that. He can also cover other roles in my midfield, so I think I'll be playing with a box-to-box midfielder as well, so we can cover that if needs be. £60 million was quite steep, rising to 88, but English player tax, sometimes you have to just live with it. The next player I signed is Gabigol from Flamenco. Apologies, I don't have the club names updated yet. I'll look to get that done in the future. Overall, fantastic, well-rounded striker. Pretty much everything's an average of 15. Some higher things there with 18 off the ball, 16 determination, 16 technique, and that 20 penalty taking stands out. We know we can rely on him from the spot. The only thing that worries me about him is that he's left-only footed, which means that when he goes through on goal, he won't be able to use his right foot, which worries me somewhat. His PPMs are pretty decent, places shots and knocks ball past the opponent, the second of which would be particularly useful if we choose to play him on the right. At the minute we're playing with a inside forward attack on the right. I'll show you my tactics in a bit, but I think his stats are absolutely perfect for this role. If we compare him to who's already at the club, Callum Wilson, very similarly matched, but I think Gabigol just has the edge. Wilson's just got slightly more speed. I know that a lot of people won't be looking to replace Wilson, as Wilson is a clinical striker and is always very good on FM, but I just felt the need to bring in another face. Next signing is Marcus Edwards, who's actually one of two players I brought in to play on this inside forward on the right position, could also play on the left as well, which is brilliant. It just gives us generally pretty good flexibility. You can see here some fantastic dribbling stats, good pace, good agility, good composure, brilliant flair. The only worry again is that he's left-only footed, which may become a problem, but we'll see. If I compare him here to Ryan Fraser, who's the current right winger in the team, he's just streets ahead. Not as good defending and mentors, and slightly worse physicals, but speed, vision, attacking, technical, aerial, all of it's so much better. Bought him for 16.5 mil, rising to 28. I think it'd be worth every penny. Next up, Alex Grimaldo. I felt the need to bring in a new left back as the current options don't really meet the standard I want. Jamal Lewis is he's a decent player, but not really the best left back, so I thought I'd bring in some competition. You can see here with Grimaldo, he's got fantastic technicals with good dribbling and first touch. He's got good mentals with brilliant vision and composure. However, his physicals do worry me somewhat. As I'll be playing quite a high line or attacking system, I will need pace in order for players to get back. And his acceleration and pace is only 13, which is pretty slow for a wing back. He also has some poor defensive stats in marking and positioning. I'm hoping we'll be on the attack more than defending, so his advantages will outweigh the disadvantages. Bought him for 10 mil, rising to 22 mil with certain appearance bonuses. Bargain. Next up is possibly the player I'm most excited about, Dani Olmo. I needed a player who could play either attacking midfield in a 4-2-3-1 or as the furthest forward midfielder in my 4-3-3. In this case, it'll be a CM attack or a Zola on attack. Stats are absolutely phenomenal, as you can see. Brilliant dribbling, first touch, flair, off the ball, teamwork, vision, technique, and on top of that, he's got half decent physicals, good work rate. He's basically got everything I want from him. Quite a steep price tag at 63 mil, could rise up to 90 mil, but worth every penny. Next up, we've got the second of the inside forwards / left wingers that I've bought. He will compete with Marcus Edwards, I think, for this right-hand spot. This is David Neres. Good dribbling, good pace, good flair. Overall, really good player. If I compare him with Marcus Edwards, you can see there's not a huge amount in it. However, I think Neres just about has the edge, so we'll probably start the season in this position for me. I think I'm also looking for him to be my corner taker, so it's quite handy for him to have 12-13 corners on both of them so they can rotate in and out. He's the last of my first team signings, so now as promised I'll go through the youth players. First up is David de la Vibora. Unfortunately arrived without a work permit, so I've loaned him out to Murcia. However, he looks pretty decent for a left back, pretty decent determination should see him develop, and he's already got good dribbling and crossing. Next up, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this name. Looks like one of the best young strikers in the game this year. Good finishing, good determination, should help him develop. Good off the ball, good pace, everything's around 13, 14. Already looks like he's worth about 30 mil, so definitely worth the 2.5 that I paid Dynamo Dresden. I think I've seen that if you wait and loan him out until January, he does gain a work permit, so he'll likely be back here for next season and maybe rotated in and out of the youth games. I did have half a look at actually buying Bobby Clark when I was having a look through good young prospects, and I didn't realise that Newcastle sold him until I've just spotted this here. Anyway, on to the sales. Jeff Hendrick made way to West Bromwich Albion. As you can see, a lot of 11s, 12s, championship standard, nothing that I'm looking to use if I want to push up the league. If I compare him with Dani Olmo, you can see he's got a few where it beats him in defending. Just not what I'm looking for, basically. As I said, I loaned out the young striker. I also sold Yavi Manquillo to Celtic. I'm somewhat regretting this decision. You'll see why later on. You can't see on here, but I have bought another right back who's not arriving immediately. So I'm kind of regretting selling Yavi Manquillo. If I compare him with Emil Kraft, who's at the club, they're both pretty much the same. Manquillo maybe slightly quicker and better defensively, but Kraft having better other stats. Next sale is Matt Ritchie. odd to see a Scotsman go to the Netherlands, but each to their own. Getting on a bit. Main natural positions, left mid and right mid, positions I'm not looking to use. If I would have used him, I would have used him at attacking midfield right. If I compare him to Neres, where's Neres? There he is, David Neres. You can see that Neres is significantly better. Ritchie has the edge in mentals and defending from his time at left back, but overall Neres is a much better player and will carry us forward. As you can see, next signing is Isaac Hayden for the mighty transfer fee of $7.5 million. This is actually the most money we got out of anyone. I wasn't sure if I was going to sell this lad, as I wouldn't have mind keeping him around for backup. You can see he's not as good as Declan Rice, but he's still decent. However, I actually had expended my entire transfer budget and I needed to raise about $7.5 million in order to pick up David Neres, so I let him go. Next is Federico Fernandez, who I let go on a free, just to get his wages off the wage bill, basically. Old, slow, doesn't fit my system, and he's been pushed well down the pecking order by the two centre-backs I've brought in. And then the rest of my outgoings are basically loans of youth players or sales that occurred before I joined the club. Now, on to the remaining players I have. If I go to the ins here, you'll see I've got quite a few. The only one of note really is Alvaro Adriat Zola, signed from Real Madrid. I thought when I signed him it would cancel his loan with Fiorentina and bring him into the club. Looks like a fantastic right back, pretty good, well-rounded stats, 13, 14, 15s everywhere. So I thought, there we go, there's my right back for the season. Cheap fee, only paid, I think it was about 10 mil, I'll show on the previous screen. But unfortunately, it turns out his loan to Fiorentina actually goes on for the entire season. So he won't join us until next year, which is rather gutting actually, as it leaves us, for this season at least, with only Emil Kraft able to cover right back. I have started training Jacob Murphy to play in the cup games maybe and give Kraft a rest, but this isn't an ideal situation. Everyone left is kind of young players who we've got Asugo, signed from Sporting. We've got Kozlowski, signed from a Polish team. He'll be joining us in January. Hugo Felix, signed from SL Benfica. And last but not least, Jules John Guerrero. These players are just some of the best kind of young players available for cheap at the beginning of the game. Probably worth bringing them in, even if you're not going to use them permanently. When they do come in, you'll probably get your money back. Some of the other players I was looking at that you might want to give a go for your save. First was Milinkovic-Savic. I tried to get him in, but unfortunately he didn't want to join us. Next was Kulusevski, who looks like an absolutely magnificent player. I considered him for both AM and the AMR positions. As you can see, he covers those both. Left-footed, looks great. However, I wasn't a huge fan of his comes deep to get the ball PPI. And also, his price was just a little bit steep. He cost way more than Neres and Marcus Edwards, and around the same as Danny Olmo, and I felt that Olmo was a better player. Adriat Zola I've talked about, so next is Malcolm. He almost was brought in, but if you look, I compare him with David Neres, basically the same player, and I think Neres just about has the edge. And the problem with Malcolm is he has 105k wages in the Russian league, which is just enormous. So he's probably going to demand huge wages to stay here. So I didn't pick him up. Next up was Tonali, an FM legend, to be honest, a player everyone normally picks up. He didn't want to join us. He's just joined Milan. Might be someone I go back in for in future. Loftus-Cheek, another one who I had my eye on. Cheap price, but massive wages, so I didn't bring him in. Mason Mount, again, too expensive. Callum Chambers, 11.5 mil, just doesn't seem worth it, but he was someone I considered bringing in as a panic buy to cover that right back position. It's not worth it for 11.5 mil, and the loan fee they wanted was astronomical. It was something like 350k a month. I just didn't really consider it worth it. 150k a month and then 50k per week wages, so they're about 350. It's just too much, not worth it. Emil Smith-Rowe, another player I considered instead of Danny Olmo, can cover the left wing and the cam position. Great young player, obviously adds to the homegrown quota. Problem is, despite what it says on that quotation at the top middle, 43 to 53 mil, yeah, they wanted double that, around 100 mil. And if I compare to Danny Olmo's just a better player all over. Slightly slower, but better everywhere else. So I went for him. Another AMR I looked at is Victor Tishkanov. Apologies if pronouncing that incorrectly. Again, good player. Almost picked him up, but in the end went for David Neres. Just the price was a bit high. Lewis Cook appears to be available for an absolute bargain this year. Went to pick him up. Unfortunately, he's injured, so he failed his medical. I think I might look to maybe go back in January. Trincão's on loan, but a good young player. Angelo is another one of those young players I considered bringing in. Unfortunately, the price was too high. Matt Grimes, I'm not sure why he's on the shortlist. I think I was following him because another club was looking to sign him. Anyway, Yusuf Demir is on loan at Barcelona. If Barcelona don't pick him up permanently, he looks like he's on a good price. I'd expect them to pick him up. And then lastly, William Svedberg, Swedish from Hammarby, young player, available cheap. If you think I made good business here, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell to see what we do in the future. On to the games. Oh, here we are, first game. Handed an absolute nightmare start with Chelsea. They look like the perfect team to suit this year's match engine. I'll quickly flick over to key highlights, don't want to be watching all this. Yeah, they look like the perfect team for this year's match engine. Good wing backs, lots of crosses, an absolute unit up front in Lukaku, who will just be nodding those in left, right and centre. If any of you haven't played this year's game yet, at least in the beta, the most powerful thing appears to be, as I say it, corners and headers. What a goal from Newcastle, by the way. Crosses in and then headers from tall, strong players seems to be pretty overpowered. One-on-ones don't tend to go in very often, so you just need to try and generate as many corners, crosses as you possibly can and make sure you have someone on the end of it to nod it in. In that case, corner tactic, both centre-backs on the front post. Easy. Headed it straight in. 1-0 to us, and absolute dream start to our Newcastle career. Hopefully we can get a few more of those. Although Pulisic on the attack here. Cuts it back to Alonso. And then so great strike. Not ideal keeping. You'll see that we don't have Dubravka in at the minute as he's injured, so we've got Freddie Woodman. I would have hoped he did a little bit better. Maybe he was missighted from how many defenders were in the way, but we didn't defend this particularly well. None of us got anywhere near it, and Conde just lets it run through his legs. I don't know if he couldn't sort his feet out, but that's put Chelsea right back in the game, and at home they're going to be right up for it. 15 minutes in, ball goes across. Thiago Silva looks like he might have hit it against one of our men at the last second. Ball run a bit under the cosh here. Cross in, as I said, they're very strong, and Lukaku heads it straight at Woodman. Thankfully, Woodman did keep that one out. Made up for his, not sure it's an error earlier, but not great keeping earlier. So here we've got the unlikely starting right back for a £200 million team. Emil Krafth gives it to Neres, gives it to Willock. Don't know why Olmo didn't turn and shoot there. Oh, maybe that's why. Recycled it back out. Ball found its way to Neres. He just cuts the ball wide of the post. It's just occurred to me I haven't actually been through our tactics and our system as of yet. In this game I'm playing 4-3-3. I've got Gabby up front as an advanced forward. I have Saint-Maximin on the left as a winger, I believe. I have David Neres on the right as an inside forward on attack. At left side of midfield, I have Longstaff playing as a box-to-box midfielder. Right side of midfield, I have Olmo. Oh no, sorry, I don't. Olmo is unavailable. I have Willock playing as a Mazzala. At DM, I have a deep line playmaker. Oh, what a save from Woodman. I have a deep line playmaker in Rice in the DM position. Left defender, I believe I have Grimaldo as a full back on attack. Either that or he might be a wing back on support. And then my two centre backs are ball playing defenders. And then I have a wing back on the right with Emil Krafth. And then I have Woodman at the minute as a sweeper keeper. Although I have been toying in pre-season with both a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3. That might be something you see me flick through. Yeah, here we go. Here's the tactic. Oh, I'm actually playing Anas Maximan as an inside forward. Apologies. I'm going to try and put him on support here. He's got a poor average rating, struggling to get into the game. Got a yellow card. I'll switch him across to support just to see if I can get him a bit more involved in the play. So we keep going through here. I can just see Chelsea racking up the XG. Although it's worth noting that they might have more XG than us, but they've got 1.3 XG for 15 shots. So it looks like they're struggling to generate good quality chances. I'm going to sub off Maximan here. He's having a poor game. I'm going to bring on Ryan Fraser in the inside forward position. Probably not his best position. I'll bring Wilson on up front, and I think I'm going to sub off Longstaff as well. I'll put on Edwards in midfield. Not what I bought him for, but a position he can play reasonably well. Hopefully this is a highlight for us. Niakate plays it back to Woodman, who switches it across to Conde, who has acres of space to stride forward, picks out Gabigol. Oh no, Wilson, sorry, said Wilson off. I was about to say, that's the problem with Gabigol, is that he can't shoot on his right foot, but then actually it was Wilson on his stronger foot unable to finish for us there. It's unfortunate, but you can see that's the benefit of keeping Wilson, is that his pace can just really cause damage in behind. Ooh, the amount of space Kunde had there, you can see the benefit of the ball playing defender, stepping out of defence and creating chances. Here we have another one of those corners, as I said. Romelu Lukaku gets up, heads it back post. That's what I said I was afraid of at the beginning. And now we're 2-1 down. We're not really creating many chances here. I'm gonna encourage the boys, try and get them morale up, as they all seem to have a bit glum faces. Hopefully we can create at least one more chance to try and get us back in the game. I'm not sure if we get a draw, it'll be a deserved draw, but hopefully we can squeak out a draw. I don't really want to lose on my first game. As I say that, Edwards comes through. Neres, what a goal. What a goal. And that's the benefit of having that support position. Drops a bit deeper, gets the ball, runs at the defence, and manages to carve out a great chance for Neres, who on the attack mentality is just running off his man at the back post. And that's pretty poor from their centre-back. I wonder if that's Silva, because he didn't seem to have the pace to get to the ball. Yeah, it was Thiago Silva. No complaints from me. Back down to 2-1. So you can see they've got 1.7 XG for 20 chances, which means they're generating less than 0.1 XG per chance, which means they're shooting from range a lot. Whereas we've got, well, it's not great, 1.05 XG for 7 chances, which means the chances we're creating are of better quality. And you've seen that with the Neres one there and the Wilson strike are definitely the two main chances in this game. I'm pretty happy with the draw. I think I'm going to add some time wasting, play out for the draw here. See if we can squeeze this one out. Hopefully we can make sure they don't get another chance. As I say that, they've got another corner. Oh, well headed clear. We might actually have a counter here as Fraser picks up the ball. Turns to Kunde, weirdly, who's up there. Maybe no counter. Kraft plays back to Woodman. That's that time wasting in action, I think. Just playing the safe passes, making sure that we don't lose it. Although Wilson's picked up the ball. That's the second one of those he's missed now, which is frustrating. Hopefully that isn't a feature of his game. But as I said earlier, this match engine at the minute doesn't really reward you for creating high quality chances, as the keepers seem to save them a lot. It seems to reward you more for swinging in a lot of crosses. So I might adjust my tactic to have wingers instead of inside forwards, just to supply as many crosses as possible to the strikers. I'll think about that for next game. So with a few seconds left to spare, I'm not sure if this is an actual highlight. I think this might be the end game highlight. Grimaldo's picked up a knock. Hopefully he's not out for a long time. So, 2-2 draw. I'm going to say well done to the lads. It's not the worst result, and they played reasonably well. Restricted Chelsea to pretty poor chances, mainly just set pieces and long shots. Overall, not a bad start. Hopefully we can build from there. I believe our next game is against Norwich. every manager is keen to see new signings. I think we edged it. Then we'll have a bit of a laugh because he doesn't score very many. Niakate, although I have a feeling he might score a few this season as that corner tactic pays off. 2 to 3 weeks out for Alex Grimaldo. Not ideal, means we're going to have to play Jamal Lewis, who as I said, he is capable, but it's not the end of the world. And Grimaldo has been playing pretty poorly for me in all the games, and he played pretty poorly against Chelsea as well. I'm really struggling to find a role really for this left back position that gets it involved. They seem to get pretty poor ratings unless they have an assist a lot of the time, wing backs. So unless I'm making my corner taker, which I don't want to do, I think I'm going to have to just suck up. They're going to have bad average ratings, similar to how the defensive positions always have terrible ratings. I was slightly wrong about my setup. Sorry, I realised that I was running actually a CM attack, a roaming playmaker, and a halfback that game. Completely different system to what I thought I was running. I must have changed that for the last friendly and stopped to change it back. There were no complaints as I got my draw. I wasn't wholly satisfied with the performance of that game, so I think I might have a fiddle around with the tactics, have a little play around here, and then come back for the next game. Right, so I'm now just for the Norwich game, I'm trying to decide which tactic I want to use. Do I want to use the tactic I used last game with the Roman playmaker, or do I want to use my Zola? I had some success in a few of the friendlies running a 4-2-3-1, slightly different like this. We had a winger providing support to a forward on the right, so I think I'm going to use this. This will allow me to get the best out of Neres, hopefully. Wing backs bombing on and providing crosses, covered by Declan Rice in that defensive midfield kind of position. I know it's in CM, but the more defensive role in that midfield. And then it also allows me to get another midfielder up to support the striker, so they're not completely alone. In this case, it probably won't be Willock. I think it'll be Edwards, although Willock can definitely play there. Just thinking about it as well, do I want wing backs? Sorry, I shouldn't be doing this live on the video, but do I want to do this with wing backs or full backs? I think I might try, as it's against Norwich, and hopefully they're a little bit worse of a team than we are, and we'll have the advantage. I think I'm going to switch both to full backs on attack. See, full backs on attack aren't as bad as they sound, actually. They tend to operate pretty similar to a wing back on support, other than they hit the byline to get their crosses in. But they're actually a lot more defensively sound, I find, than, say, a wing back on attack who will bomb forward pretty recklessly. Right, now let's get on with this game. Hopefully, you'd like to think that after a draw with Chelsea, if we can get a win here against Norwich, that'll be a pretty decent start to our season. I'm aiming for a top half finish, according to the board. I think we could do better. Right, into the game. And we're 1 minute in, we've had our first shot and now our first corner. There's that corner tactic again. Niakate up at the near post, gets up and unfortunately heads over the bar. 70% possession, we're generating a lot of corners, 3 already. Niakate again, good save by Gunn, and it falls to Gabby who knocks it in. 1-0 already, 4 minutes in, over 1 XG with 6 shots. It looks like going attacking and going pretty bold is going to pay off so far. We'll see that again here. Neres flicks it in. Defender doesn't get anywhere near it. The keeper just parries it across his own goal. Not sure what he's doing there. A nice tap in for Gabagol to score his first goal for the club. We've got good possession so far. I don't see any need to change anything. 57%, 12 shots in 10 minutes. Norwich are getting absolutely battered. They've got to watch out here. I'm actually going to swap Marcus Edwards and Willock because they haven't really done anything so far. Although we're playing well, I think I'll just switch it back. I'm a bit worried about Edwards' defensive prowess and that box-to-box role. Another highlight for us here. We're actually on 14 shots and almost 2 XG already. We've got to be careful. We don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot by letting Norwich have a chance. And as I say that, they go through on goal and Lys Melu hits the post. So that's the danger, is you can generate as many shots in XG as you want. If you're not putting them in the net, then all it takes is one shot for the opponent to equalise. We know corners are dangerous, so we've got to watch out. Into Ritchie, and Lewis gets it clear. Right, let's hope we get a second pretty soon so we can calm everything down. Conde striding out from the back. We saw a few of those last game, pretty strong. Kraft there, overloading the right hand side, going past the defence. Cuts the ball across, into St. Maximan. And wow, maybe Kraft isn't the poor wing back I thought he was. Has a fabulous ball across, and St. Maximan perfectly placed at the far post. I think this might have been a keeper error again, because when that ball came across, it looked like the keeper should have just came out and intercepted it, but didn't. Not sure how it made it all the way across to the back post through the 6-yard box, but we'll take it. It looks like we're missing a fantastic game of Leeds v Watford. 3-3 already, only 30 minutes in. Here we go, Kraft with the ball, to Conde, to Rice, back to Kraft. Some brilliant triangles going on. Neres, can he switch the ball up? He can. Edwards is in. Turns and flicks the ball off. Now St. Maximan, and that's 3. 2.45 XG, 17 shots, 35 minutes in. This is looking pretty comfortable. Oh, I misread that game. It's 3-0, not 3-0. So Leeds are actually performing even better than we are at home, which is pretty outstanding. My only worry is the composition of this midfield. They're not really getting very good ratings. Could be because they're doing defensive work rather than creation, but it's a small bone to pick. I'm not going to worry about that at the minute. I'm very happy so far. Keep it up. I don't really like using that shout as it tends to lead to a drop-off in performance. I don't feel like I can say don't get complacent when we're 3 goals up. 10 minutes ticking by, not a huge amount happening. Team morale looks high on the bottom bar. Very uneventful half. I think I might try and G the boys up a little bit. See what we can do. How can I get these midfielders involved a little more? Let's have a look at the box to box. My concern is we're already pretty attacking with those attacking fullbacks, but let's just see if we can. If we're going to get balls into the box, we want to have people in the box. So let's push Willock on a little bit further. See if he can get on the end of one of these crosses. Danny Olmo, I think I'm just going to allow him to dribble a little bit more and ask him to do a little bit more defensive action. Dribble a little bit more, he's got good dribbling. I think he can beat a man and maybe create something because, again, I haven't seen a huge amount from him this game. Edwards, sorry, not Olmo. Keep thinking we've got Olmo playing and he still hasn't come back from his holidays after the World Cup. 70 minutes in and still nothing. And Joe Willock's actually on a pretty poor average rating. So I'm going to bring in John Joe Shelby to give that a go. I'm also going to give one of our boys a rest. Actually, I think that'll be fine. We're playing well. I don't really want to change a winning formula. Demand a bit more from the team because 3-0 up in 30 minutes. You'd hope that by 90 minutes you would have grabbed another. Although I am satisfied with the defensive performance. Keeping a clean sheet, always good. After conceding 2 against Chelsea, it'd be nice to come home with 3 goals and a clean sheet. That's pretty much the perfect performance. It's just maybe it's a little bit greedy on my part from how good we were in the first half. And that's game. So 4 points from the first 2 games, Norwich and Chelsea. Well, I think that's pretty much all we could ask for and good results. If you did like what you see, please like this video and give a subscribe and check out some of my other videos. Thank you.